Anyone need any sound checks? Okay, we're going to get started in about a minute. Please turn off your cell phones or put them on vibrate, and we'll be taking questions after the conference. Commissioner Mueller is going to kick it off, and then Deputy Mayor Landi will make some comments.
How about those elections, huh?
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, everyone. I know that this is very short notice. We were actually gathered here, unfortunately, yesterday morning over on Shipman Avenue to discuss what we continue to characterize as a very, very horrific double homicide, and we're pleased to announce that in just about 24 hours, about 26 hours, we can happily announce that we have a suspect in custody. He was apprehended in Arizona, and we're going to be working through extradition proceedings now to bring him back to New York for justice. So I just want to thank a number of people that were able to make this happen so quickly, because I could be proud of the Yonkers Police Department and our federal and state partners. I want to recognize by name the detectives that worked on this case. Detective Vianette Martinez, Shayna Jacobs, Robert Villanueva, Christopher Urban, Frank Calavano, Dawn Lebzelter, Christopher Manzo, Gene Dolce, Neville Bennett, and John Fritz. And they were supervised by Detective Sergeant Paul Appy and Detective Lieutenant John Morello, who is the major case lieutenant. They did an amazing job of developing probable cause. We worked with the SDNY in getting a UFAP warrant for the purposes of bringing the person into custody. Our DA's office, the Westchester County DA's office, was on the ground, as you know, yesterday, right away, and they worked with us tirelessly through this period of time. The Westchester Safe Street Task Force liaised with the FBI Phoenix Fugitive Task Force, who were instrumental in bringing in Ramos's apprehension. So we're very pleased to announce that, again, in less than just about 24 hours, 26 hours, we do have a suspect in custody. So now we're available for any questions you may have.
You mentioned the probable cause. The motive in this case?
I'm sorry?
You mentioned probable cause. Can you go into what the motive might have been, how you knew them?
We can't talk to him right now because it was a warrant. So we got a judge to sign. The Westchester County DA's office prepared a warrant, an arrest warrant, and was signed. So now, because of the way the law works, we can't talk to him because he was arrested on a warrant. So we don't know what his motivation was. So we're still sorting that out. We do know that he was on his way. He was apprehended in Solomé, Arizona, possibly on his way to the Mexican border. We're not sure. And now the next step is the extradition proceedings. If he wants to come back on his own, he can waive extradition. If he refuses to waive extradition, we can obviously we'll go through the court process of getting him back to New York.
Commissioner, can you tell us if he has any prior records and when was the last arrest, if there was one recently?
He does. Unfortunately, just about a week ago, I think it was 8 days, on the 26th of October of this year, he was arrested for felony arson, and unfortunately he was released on his own recognizance at that time. So he was arrested for felony arson a week ago, and he was out of jail immediately.
What is his relationship to the two women, if any?
Acquaintance. We're not sure. We have to talk to him if he's willing to talk to us. Right now, like I said, we can't talk to him because of the warrant situation, but we know that the parties knew each other.
What led to him being your suspect?
So this was really, really good work by our Yonkers Police Detective Division and their supervisors. They were able to track down a former girlfriend through some of our databases, and in just having a conversation with that person, they gave us very, very pertinent information about what happened, where our suspect Ramos might be, and that's what led for us to work with our out-of-state partners, federal, state partners, to see if we couldn't track him down, and we did ultimately in Solomon, Arizona.
Now, Commissioner, you're not sure if he's the boyfriend or the relationship. Have you spoken to the boyfriend that is out there? That is a boyfriend. Is he the boyfriend or is not the boyfriend?
We don't know. We know that we were able to develop probable cause. We got a warrant signed by the judge based on the fact pattern that we have and the investigative steps that were taken. And so now it's a question of just putting the rest of the evidence together. We don't know if he was an acquaintance or a boyfriend. We don't know that yet.
Any idea how long they were inside the home before they were found?
We do not know. That will be developed through the forensic investigation. As we we have a coroner's report that will be coming our way as far as the time of death and the cause of death and things like that. Obviously, those things take a little bit longer. So as in the coming days and weeks, we'll be getting more information for this.
The felony arson charge, where was that at?
Wapages Falls, New York. So the question was, where was the felony arson charge where he was released on his own recognizance? That was in Wapages Falls, New York. October 26th, I believe, just about 8 days ago.
Do you blame bail reform for his quick release from the arson charge?
Well, certainly, we've made a case for some time about some of the difficulties about bail reform, and this is an example where this individual was arrested for a C felony, a very serious charge, a week ago, and he was released on his own recognizance, and then fast forward a week later, we have, 2 women that are murdered. But we are working with our legislature, as I always say, to make these modifications where we can come to some common ground. And like I said, I give credit to the legislature in talking to us last July, and we hope they'll be speaking with us again. They're always open to discussions, but these are things that, are the reality. This is the reality of it.
Is he originally from Yonkers, and how old is he?
He, I believe, is probably around 27 years old, and he does have an address in Yonkers. I don't know if he's originally from Yonkers, but clearly he had roots here.
How do you think about Arizona?
We think he drove, and that'll also, the question was, how do we think he got to Arizona? We think he drove. We don't know yet. We're still working on it, but our assumption is that we will be able to kind of like work backwards through the timeline to that point to say, well, if it took him this long to drive, how, when do we think he left? Did he leave immediately after the murders? But that's all stuff. But, this is such an amazing job by our Yonkers detectives and our partners in the DA's office and the FBI and the SDNY to all come together and do this in 24 hours. I couldn't be more proud of our people.
Can you just go into a little bit more detail about how he was arrested in Arizona? Was it local Arizona officials or FBI?
It was, I believe, the FBI Phoenix Fugitive Task Force. Is that correct? Who, and this is how law enforcement in the 21st century works, where we're all dialed into each other, we're all sharing information, and we're able to be very situational in terms of when we need something like this. So these avenues of communication, these discussions are already well in place. So when we get information like this, we're able to quickly deploy resources, talk to other agencies, and say, okay, we have this person, we have a license plate, we may have a picture. And then we can kind of hand it off to them, because this is where, the real great cooperation among law enforcement, among the law enforcement community, state, federal, and local, is very valuable. It shows how efficient and how quickly we can mobilize together.
Do you know if they told you if he was taken without incident, and where exactly? Was he at a hotel, a motel? Where in Arizona was he found?
I believe he was pulled over in a vehicle, but I can't verify that. And he was taken without incident. He was taken into custody without incident.
Commissioner, you think that he was on the way to Mexico. Do we know if he was a Mexican citizen or maybe a Latin
We do not know that yet, but when we get that information, Ben, we'll certainly get it to you.
Have you recovered a murder weapon?
We do not,
Not at this time.
not at this time. But again, there's a lot of, as you guys saw, as our press saw at the scene yesterday morning, you know, there's a lot to go through. Especially, I know I saw some of the overhead shots from the helicopters, and there's a lot of items there that they have to sift through and go through. In addition to the vehicle that we took as evidence also had a ton of personal items in it. It's going to be.
How long do you think you'll be on location? We were there this morning, a section of Shipman and Kimball still blocked off, people want to get in and out.
Yeah, we're trying, and this is always a challenge for police departments because obviously we need to keep the scene controlled so we don't contaminate evidence. At the same time, people live on the block, and we have to make sure that we're, considerate of them about coming and going. But we're going as quickly as we can. Like I said yesterday, this is a very, very methodical approach. We take as long as we have to take because at the end of the day, like I said yesterday, this is all about bringing justice and some form of closure to the victims' families and the victims' friends. So we have to take our time and make sure that we don't leave anything, any stone unturned as far as recovering evidence.
Are you looking for any other suspects in connection to this case?
We are not.
Can you talk about the challenge your forensic investigators have of reporting a situation inside the home? Can you kind of go into that a little bit?
Yeah, so the question was the challenge of going through the hoarding situation, and it's just simply think about a needle in a haystack. You have to, again, we assume that every piece of evidence has to be collected, so we have to go through everything. Once you don't collect evidence, you never have it. But there's going to be tons of items that we may collect that we'll never use. So, it's just so difficult to go through all these different things, go through a situation like that the house is absolutely full of items, personal items. So we have to go really slow, and it is a real challenge because we're going to go as slow as we can, take as long as we can, so that we build the best possible case we possibly can.
When he's extradited here to New York, what charges will he be facing?
I believe he was charged when the warrant was sworn out. It's 2 charges of murder in the 2nd degree.
This guy identities of the victims?
Yes. Mom, the mother, was Isabella Triano, and the daughter was Tricia Miller. Those are the names. The next of kin have been notified. Obviously, like I said yesterday, we're very victim-centric in the Yonkers PD. We want to make sure that, the family and next of kin was notified before we release it to the press. They have been notified. So it's the mother, who I believe is 70 years old, Isabella Triano, and the daughter is Tricia Miller, and I believe she's 38.
Commissioner, would you mind, do you have the spelling for the mother's last name?
I believe it's Triano.
And did she work with Yonkers? Who worked with Yonkers?
I believe Isabella Triano worked in the Board of Education for the city of Yonkers.
Which particular school, sir?
That Saunders High School. Any other questions? Again, thank you so much. So proud of our Yonkers detectives and the Yonkers PD. Thank you.
Good morning. How are you today? I'd just like to say a few words on behalf of Mayor Spano, and thank you, Commissioner Miller.
Yes, sir.
I would like to thank Commissioner Miller and the Yonkers Police Department, along with the other various enforcement agencies, for their quick and expeditious work to apprehend this. It's very important that what they did was very good work. I hope they continue the good work, and I wish them all to be safe and to continue the good work and make Yonkers a safe place to live. Thank you.
And I would just like to say, and thanks to Deputy Mayor Landi and Mayor Spano, I think one of the things that has been a kind of a hallmark of Mayor Spano's administration is this constant outreach we have with our community, people willing to talk to us. You don't see that in every police department, but in this case, because of the bridges that the Yonkers PD has built under the leadership of Mayor Spano and his administration, we're fortunate in Yonkers where we get a lot more cooperation than you see in other jurisdictions in terms of coming forward and sharing information about crimes. Thank you.
All right, thank you, everybody. That's the end of the conference.